Hello, everybody on YouTube. How we all doing tonight? I am almost ready for the weekend. I had yesterday off. I had today off. My body is killing me from splitting firewood the last couple of days. But you know what? I'm feeling thinner. I'm feeling better looking. And the beard is looking fantastic. Speaking of beards, our guest tonight, Leonard David, has a fantastic beard as well. So make sure you check that on out in the promo photos. I also want to remind you that as of this evening, we have opened up our brand new store at the SOR Vault. Go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault, and there it is. We got the t-shirts up. They are ready. They are for sale. If you're in the U.S., you're saving a ton of money because all of our prices are in Canadian dollars, so you're saving a bunch of money there. Let's give a quick shout-out to everybody in our chat room so far, and I know there will be many more to come yet tonight, but the early birds, they get their names shouted out. Kimberly, good to see you. And Renee, you're looking fantastic tonight. Hi, Chris Moe. Good to have you here. James Short, thank you for sharing in Flanders Field, man. Appreciate that. Brian, good to see you again, my friend. Baba Yaga, always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Brett Lewis is here, everyone, which means we can officially start the show. Yes. Paul John Tavares, still waiting for that Stanley Cup in Toronto. Bees Nest, good to see you here. And Chris Jarvis, Chris Moe. Always get you guys confused. I don't know why. I do, though. I really do. And let's scroll down because I did see Nucker there and Princess Denali, the official princess of Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you here, sweetheart. Worsley, thanks for coming on in, man. Appreciate you. And Dirty Filth, always a pleasure. Pharmacy, thanks for joining us. BBD Warrior, always a pleasure to have you here. High Prairie Fire. And Nucker, I said you. Pastor Keith, Reverend Keith, get an amen out for him, my friend. Brian Drummond, good to have you here. Thank you for coming on in. Flesh Wound, always a pleasure. Burrito, I'm not hungry today, but I love the name. Fast Hemi, good to have you here, along with Rich Hilke. Hi, Jen A, you're looking stunning tonight. Appreciate you. And Justin, thanks for coming on in. Bisler, there you are. Good to have you here. And I think we're caught up. Oh, Lori Oliphant. Lori Oliphant. The lovely and talented Lori is here. She is back with a vengeance. There she is. All right. Hi, Leonard. How you doing?
Hey, good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's going to be fun tonight, man. It's going to be fun tonight. We are about 3 minutes away from launching this, or, about 2.5 minutes, so it'll be a good time tonight. I'm just getting
forward to it.
Oh, I think so. Me too. All right. Who else we got here? Awesome, Andy. Good to see you here. Hi, Sandra. Eugene, my man. Good to have you back, brother. I always appreciate you here. Calms me down a little bit, bud. And I think we're still caught up. And I know there's 49 people in there. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We're at 9337 right now. 9337 right now. I would love to get 10,000 before the end of the year. If you don't mind, that would help me out. Help you out too. Why? I don't know, but it would be kind of cool. Hello, the Wheat Queen herself. The gorgeous Manitoba Becky is here. There she is, everyone. There she is. Alaska's greatest athlete, the gorgeous and talented Ladybug. And Steam Train Mark in Australia. Please let us know how tomorrow is looking and tell us if we are alive. We'd appreciate an update from the future. Virgil, thanks for coming on in, man. Appreciate you. Vintage Beard, how you doing? Good to have you back. And I think we're caught up. Millennium, I got you. I gave you the shutout. Yeah, okay. We got about 30 seconds here. Remember, a great way to support what we do on this show, we have the Super Chat open. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. And what else? Oh, yeah. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Doesn't matter to me. You just tell me if you like it or not. And don't forget our brand new store, the SOR Vault. Go to facebook.com/SOR or the SOR Vault. And you can get our new t-shirts there. They are on sale as of right now. We are on 10 seconds. Leonard David is our guest tonight. You guys are in for a real treat tonight. We're going to get this thing going in like now. Of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Let's go deep into space tonight, shall we? Yes, let's have a little gallivanting around the stars, as author Leonard David is a space journalist reporting on all activities up in the stars for the last half-century. Leonard's book, which came out last year, is called Moonrush, The New Space Race, published by National Geographic. Mr. David is also the author of Mars, Our Future on the Red Planet, published by National Geographic as well, back in 2016. The book is a companion volume to Mars, a National Geographic Channel television series in its second season. And you know what? This is looking pretty good so far. He is also co-authored with Apollo 11's Buzz Aldrin of Mission to Mars. And you know what? This guy's pretty brilliant. He has studied UFOs. He's studied ET contact and the potential of that. We're going to go and run the gamut with him. His website, leonarddavid.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Leonard David, it is such a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Thanks very much. I appreciate being on the show, and I love that we own the night. We all do, and so it's going to be quite a night.
I hope so. I hope so. Now, I want to ask you, because this first little bit here, we always like to get to know our guests a little bit, especially someone who is new to the show, such as yourself. What was the fascination of the stars that brought you to this point in your life?
I broke my glasses. My glasses broke, and I made some cardboard tubes. I put those together and made a telescope. This is a long, long time ago, and looked up and had some very supportive parents. That was always, your mother and father pointing up. And, I'm pretty old now, but when Sputnik was launched back in 1957, I was very lucky to have seen probably the booster that had put it up. Not sure I saw the satellite itself, but that was the first artificial satellite of the Earth. So it all connected in my mind, space.
Very interesting. Very interesting that you say that. Now, did you always want to be an astronaut as a kid, like most of us have? Or was this something that you just felt that you needed to learn a little bit more of?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. The astronaut status was always in my mind. I certainly reveled with all the early Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo program astronauts and what their, how brave they were to do what they did. I think I was just fascinated by what's the unknown here. Why are we doing this? Why do we send people into space? Why not just all robots? What's that edge there between what a human can do in space and what a robot can.
Did you ever look into the stars and think and wonder if there was life out there?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that was always in my mind that it's the corny line, are we alone? And as I've grown older, it's more of the question really how crowded is it? And I think what's happened in the last just a few years, really, the amount of exoplanets that have been discovered, through various spaceborne observatories and ground-based telescopes. It's clear that we're not alone. And that fascination of not being alone and just how crowded it has continued to this minute. Yeah.
Leonard, when you started taking this a little bit more seriously, how old were you? Were you still a young man? Were you still a young child? Were you into college at this point?
No, what happened to me, I get asked every once in a while, how do you become a space journalist? What is that? And I'd have to actually go back to National Geographic back in the 50s. Everybody had National Geographic. They were so beautiful you couldn't throw them away. So you either gave your copies to people or whatever. You inherited them or whatever. But one of them was a very well-written article about a B-2 rocket that had a camera in it. And it was in the National Geographic, and what was so much fun is you could open the page, and it actually had the picture unfolded, and it showed the Earth, the horizon of the Earth, taken by this V-2 rocket. And it crashed in the New Mexico desert, and, they retrieved the camera, and they showed the picture of the camera that survived. That all intrigued me. So I was writing about that in my own little newspaper. I had a pen, I had a piece of paper, and I wrote a newsletter and sold it around the neighborhood for probably a nickel. And that was my first experience in writing about space, and I sold it for a nickel to all the neighbors. I had to rewrite the newsletter. We didn't have any photocopiers back then. So, I made a little money on that, and I started writing, for magazines much later. But that was my introduction to journalism.
I'm always intrigued to learn from people. When you stare up at the stars at night, where are you looking? And why are you looking in those places? Is it to see if you see any movement, or is it just the wonderment at how vast it is?
Well, yeah, it's I guess it's all of the above, which makes sense. It's the vastness, but also today, I spent a lot of time, we live up here in the mountains in Colorado with pretty clear skies, and we're up at 9,000 feet, closer to the stars than I usually have been in my life. And so satellite watching is a real treat, watching the International Space Station fly by, but also, fireballs and I have a couple telescopes here that are much bigger than cardboard tubes and broken glasses, lenses. So I spend a lot of time trying to haul those out into the front there and look up. And usually I'm looking at the moon. I'm still fascinated with the moon, and so that's intriguing. But right now there's Mars is out there, Jupiter, Saturn. We have a whole litany of planets that you can inspect. And my wife and I started a astronomy group up here, and we found out how many people up here have telescopes. Quite a few. So there's a lot of astrophotography going on. So it's all been fun.
No, and I can see that, but you over time and over your amazing career have had the ability to meet up with some very interesting people, some intriguing people, some legends. I mean, you have lived a life in this field that most people would only dream of. I mean, from what you've learned to know, I mean, the only other way to get what you have is by either working for NASA or being an astronaut yourself.
Well, when you get into the journalism field, probably the biggest move I ever made. I grew up in San Diego, California, and I moved to Washington D.C. I lived there in Washington for like 3 decades, covering NASA, and met a lot of people. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people, and you're right, it's a lot of fun. It's exciting to meet people for the first time. Astronauts are one thing. They're a special category of an interview, but, there's so many people that design the vehicles and worry about the parachutes. And, when you go through the litany of how many technicians are involved in getting these vehicles up and off the Earth, it's pretty impressive. And the breadth of the knowledge that those people have is pretty intense when you sit there and listen to their stories. So I love them all.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all, my friend. I don't blame you at all. Is there any particular story over your amazing career the last half century that has really, touched you in a way that for most journalists, we're not supposed to make that emotional commitment to a story, but sometimes you just can't help it? You recall that story?
There's been so many that I can't. There's no one favorite one. I tell you, the one that the most heart-wrenching is the loss of Columbia, the shuttle, and 7 astronauts on that, and Challenger before that. But I was wrapped up in a study for the U.S. government at the time called the National Commission on Space. And we were putting together a report for the Congress and President Reagan about the next 50 to 100 years of space exploration. And we had just barely finished that report. And I was in the office, and I brought in my little TV screen, and that's when Challenger was lost. And that was just an awful time, and we had to really hold off on that report. And then when Columbia went down, I was working at space.com full time, and I went to Texas and covered quite a few of the accident investigation board hearings, and that was horrific. So a lot of good times. When Hubble came into focus, I was in a room in Baltimore with the Hubble Space Telescope Institute. If people remember, when Hubble was let loose by the shuttle, it was out of focus. And here we have this huge investment, and quite a unbelievable amount of energy and time had been put into trying to put that thing back in focus. And my wife and I, we were both in the control area when the first picture came back from a focused Hubble. And I'll never forget them popping open the champagne bottles. That was pretty exciting. That was another one of those wonderful moments.
Leonard, how do you gain the trust of people like NASA or the astronauts, such as you have, in order to get these stories, get these images, and to report on these very important topics to the future of mankind?
Well, I think there is a trust there. I mean, there's some people, I'm walking around with a bunch of stories I can't write. I mean, some people have told me in confidence of things, and after you earn your stripes and you kind of write for a lot of publications and you don't foul up too much, people respect the integrity of the writing. So it's always important to make sure the quotes are right, and for God, help me to spell their names right. That always helps. So, it does take a bit of time to get that trust. And again, I'm getting old here, but veteran, space journalist makes my skin crawl a little bit. But I feel like I've really just begun in some ways. There's so much going on today compared to what I've already seen.
What haven't you seen that over your career you would love to see?
Well, certainly human return to the moon and getting onto Mars. It's pretty amazing to me that, as a kid, when you start out thinking about the future of the space program, NASA, and we're going to get to other things here about the other world competition going on today in space. It's pretty amazing that we've come as far and still are as confused as we are about where we're headed and why we do these things. And clearly, the space program, it's always discretionary funding by the Congress. The biggest bright light going on for a lot of people right now is the emergence of the private sector when you have SpaceX and Elon Musk, and you have people like Jeff Bezos, the Amazon.com mogul, people that are investing their own, mostly private monies into making things happen. So there's a kind of a reemergence or resurgence of capability that we're going to see in the next decades coming. So that's exciting.
Why have we never been back to the moon? I mean, that is such an important topic and a question that has just evolved around controversy. Everything from budgetary reasons to aliens on the moon, and we were told not to go back again. Why do you think that we've never been back?
Well, I think, in the middle of the Apollo program, when NASA's money was there, and at that time that cost was like $25 billion of money and 400,000 people working hard to put people on the moon. We also saw the country kind of get torn apart. Race riots. We had the Vietnam War emerging and going forward. So there was a lot of tension in America, and it was kind of a sad so long in 1972. That was the last crew to go to the moon. There was a lot of very fascinating plans about putting up a small moon base and going to even more exciting and dynamic places on the moon than the first cruise. So it was kind of a sad goodbye to the moon. But kind of an odd thing. We're trying to reinvent going back to the moon. And in fact, today I was working on a story. One of the messages from Apollo is, the moon is a Disneyland of dust. We got to worry about the dust on the moon, and what are we doing different this time around if we're going to stay there and be permanent, and perhaps set up kind of a Antarctic-like lunar base. And so we're getting back there, but again, I'm a little worried because the finances, the politics, you said it yourself, the politics, the rigmarole that we go through. Every time we put together a major outing like an Apollo program, it falls short. And we see this coming. I think even today there was a new study that came out from NASA itself, its own internal, what do they call that thing? I wrote it. I can't remember what it was. It's just they call it the Inspector General. And even in that report from inside NASA, getting to the moon by 2024 with the first woman and first return of a man is going to be tough. It's just not happening. And so you're going to see delay and technical problems and this and that. So, I just would like to see us move forward and have a concrete space program, and hope the American public wants that as well.
Do you think it was a mistake when we stopped going to the moon?
Oh yeah, yeah. The thing that I kind of tried to get to in the Moon Rush book from last year is we have a tendency to think of the moon as a been there, done that world, because we sent crews there and we walked around for a bunch of hours and grabbed some rocks and come back. It's clear the moon has got a lot of mystery to it still, and it's there. The mysteries are still there. We just a few weeks ago we found more water reservoirs on the moon, perhaps, and so the moon has still got a lot of secrets to unveil, and it'll take some time and dedication and political will and money and brave crews to go back and investigate the moon like we've never done before.
When you look back at it and you think, okay, damn it, we blew an opportunity here between 1972 and now year 2000. I'm sure when you shut it down, or when you saw the program get shut down back in 1972, you never thought it would be 48 years before we'd be even trying to get there again. And a follow-up question to that is, are you surprised we've had, with today's technology, so much trouble to get there?
Again, it gets back to the political will and the ambition of the country. Now, one of the signals that I think everybody should be watching is China. China has a very interesting dynamic program. They haven't really committed for humans on the moon as yet from a government side, but you go talk to or try to communicate with any of the scientists at meetings, and clearly there's a hunger there in China for going back to the moon with humans. Now, coming up this month, at the end of the month, there is China will launch, if everything goes the way it's supposed to, a robotic spacecraft to go to the moon, collect lunar samples robotically, and then shoot those back to the Earth. This hasn't been done since '76 with the Soviet Union. So they're picking up momentum there, and there's a warning here that I try to put in the Moon Rush book. I think we're seeing something like a Sputnik effect. We're seeing, because when Sputnik was launched, it was a major, a diplomatic coup for the former Soviet Union. And I think China is going to play out to be something like that. So I think we better, keep an eye on China and make sure we have a reasonable program to respond to their country moving out and doing some great things on the moon. I'm excited about the Chinese. They have a major human spaceflight program. Again, in the next year or 2 years, we're going to start seeing them put together their own space station. It's a fairly aggressive program, and they've earned their stripes to date and are having a pretty good success run. So we'll see how it plays out, but it's something to watch.
Leonard, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Leonard David is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Inside Outer Space. We're going to take a look at Mars. We're going to take a look at the moon. We're going to take a look at UFOs and potential ET contact. We got a real gem tonight, and this is going to be so worth it. More Spaced Out Radio coming up after this. All right, my friend, we're clear.
Okay. All right. And what do I do? Nothing.
Oh, we just get to hang out now and shoot the breeze.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I know you got a lot of the UFO interested people. I don't know if you want to try to. I know you gave me a window there to segue into that, but maybe next go around we'll try to.
Oh yeah, I wasn't ready for that yet. I wasn't ready for that. I was just stretching. we stretch here, just to make sure, because we got a lot of time to move through and way too much information to try and get. But we'll get there. We'll get to them aliens. Don't worry.
Okay, no problem.
Just wait till they show up at your window.
You're kind of, once in a while you cut out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's because I move my mouth away from my microphone. I have a microphone that is very deadpan that I got to be on there, and I love this microphone. So I'll try not to dodge my head too much. I got a big head, and my neck is, can barely keep it up.
Okay. So you have it sounded like from all the names, you got a pretty consistent listenership there.
Well, right now, live on YouTube alone, we're at 94 people right now. That doesn't account for our radio stations that will play this show tomorrow night. That doesn't account for our digital broadcasters and their audience, plus other formats that we are live on right now as well.
Hey.
Excuse me. So we got about 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay.
Just over 2 minutes, bud.
Okay.
Then I'll reintroduce the show and reintroduce you.
Okay, will these be the same people on or more, or how does that work? Or should I think about somebody hasn't heard me before or what?
You know what? This is where I will say that we'll just run with it and go wherever we need to go.
Okay.
A good, clean, honest interview. How about that?
I'm up for that.
Yeah. Something you're not used to in this field.
No, maybe not. I've had some odd ones, I tell you. I had all the things that National Geographic set up for the Mars book was an interview by Pet Talk Radio. And I kept thinking in the hotel, what am I going to be talking about with Pet Talk Radio?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it turned out the guy was just a space maniac. He was really into it. And so we had a great time. We did talk about Laika the space dog, and, chimpanzees flown in space. But he was just more of a real space cadet 101,
Perfect. Got a couple questions we ask all new guests here. All right.
Okay.
We'll try and squeeze them in here before we go back. First question for you is, what is your thoughts of eating breakfast foods for dinner?
Breakfast foods, okay.
Like scrambled eggs, toast, or hash browns. You a fan of that for dinner or no?
No.
Yes. Oh God, I hate breakfast for dinner.
We're lucky. Yeah, well, we had a pretty good. What did we have, Barb? I don't remember. We had some. We had leftovers, I think.
All right, my friend, hold on tight here. Hey, everybody on YouTube and everywhere else listening, I want to remind you that the new SOR Vault is open. Go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. You can pick up your new T-shirts there, and the Super Chat is open. Let's start the next portion of the show right now. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway right now. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate that. I want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We want to remind all of you that, you know what? This is a great show. So make sure you hit that thumbs up as well if you're on our YouTube channel. All right, Leonard David is our guest tonight. He is all things space when it comes to writing, researching, and journalism about Mars, the moon, extraterrestrials. He's been published numerous times by National Geographic. This man, he's got the dream job that all of us want. He doesn't have to do anything dangerous, but he gets to play around with all the big toys and with all the big people out there. Leonard, welcome back.
Hey, good to be here. Hey, sometimes it gets dangerous, though. You can be in an interview and lose your train of thought, I'll tell you that.
I know that. I know that. You ever freeze on an interview?
There are times when I feel like it's not going the way I wanted it to go, or I just feel the person is not really owning up to something, and trying to soothe them a little bit and try to get them back on track and try to feel like they should be comfortable with me asking questions. It's an art. I think every interview you learn something a little bit different about yourself and the person you're interviewing. But I've had one bad one that went crazy on me that I don't want to remember, but most of them, 99.9%, I've really enjoyed, from astronauts to engineers, to people that had failures, to people that had tremendous success. Particularly, the most interesting times I've spent at Jet Propulsion Lab is interviewing ahead of time all the people that worked on some of the early Mars landers, Pathfinder and the Spirit and Opportunity, and then Curiosity. And I tell you, you get in there and you start asking them questions of what do you do if this doesn't work? There are some pretty interesting answers, and it's a thrill ride for those people that design these Mars landers. There's so many people that have to work in tandem, and they don't want their part to foul up, But it's heart-wrenching when something goes. I've been in places where things went wrong, and they crashed or something really went awry. And that's sad, because you talk to the people that spent a good part of their career on some of these things. That's sad.
It has to create a whole different world of pressure when you are covering these stories, because it is emotional. I mean, you're dealing with millions upon millions of dollars. You're dealing with, high stress, very brilliant people who at one little scrape of a screwdriver can cost, lives. I mean, that's a lot of pressure that these people go through on a daily basis around NASA.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing, even with I don't want to dwell on coronavirus. I'm sure we're all tired of hearing about it, but I mean, the impact of the coronavirus on missions and trying to get them ready, not just here in the United States, but also in China, and the United Arab Emirates had a Mars orbiter that they launched. They have tremendous problems, keeping on time. The Earth and Mars are only in alignment, a very short period of time, every couple of years, and so you got to get the vehicle off. And they fought pandemic issues and Perseverance, it's on its way to Mars right now by NASA. They went through a lot of trouble trying to get that vehicle together and checked out and off from Florida to on the way to Mars. So, yeah, that is exciting when they succeed. I tell you, it's just I think the one time I really remember crying. This is a little odd. I just remembered it. It was the time. It was the robotic landing with Pathfinder on Mars, and they had a very small robot on top of the lander called Sojourner. And I tell you, we were all in the press room, and when that moved, and you could see the live imagery of it moving, it was a little bit, not quite as big, but it was a little like Neil Armstrong's first footprint. You know, you just saw movement of this robot that was under command on this other world, and that was chilling to me. I'll never forget that one.
What's it like to deal with, going back to the Apollo program? Because I know you wrote a book with Buzz Aldrin, and I'm going to assume, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that you did get to meet the rest of the crews and other Apollo astronauts. I mean, these men during that time, they were larger than life. They were bigger names than any Hollywood movie star or any athlete on the planet. What was it like being around them?
Well, it is a little awesome, particularly if, but working with Buzz Aldrin was a real pleasure. I got to know him through a bunch of odd coincidences, and we wrote some articles together, and then National Geographic wanted a book by Buzz, and so I got involved with Buzz writing that. And that was a lot of fun. And, you really get an inside look at these people. I did work with Neil Armstrong on the National Commission on Space. Wonderful person. He was sort of the Howard Hughes, people describe him as a little discreet kind of guy, not out in the limelight. And that was pretty much right. I mean, he was very, kind of into himself and very nice and cordial, and I had a great time talking to him, but you hated to ask him, what was it like to be on the moon? You just wanted to, be a friend more than some spectator, So another astronaut that I've got to know over the years is Harrison Jack Schmitt on Apollo 17, the last he was a professional geologist and scientist on that mission. Tremendous. He's still going, and he's just tremendous insights about his mission in 1972. He's actually writing more and more about things he did right on the moon, things he wanted to do, things that mission control said, hurry up and get back to the lunar module, So he's had some great... And then the other one that really stood out, when I was in Washington, D.C., I had an opportunity to go over to the Senate because it was Senator John Glenn. And I went into his office, and we sat there for an hour and did talk about all kinds of things. Nuclear proliferation. I mean, the amount of interest that man had. And I was able to squeeze in, some space questions, just about, some simple things, I mean, he tried to emphasize, when he went up, he said nobody knew what the eye would do, and he had a little chart that, he had to focus on to make sure his eyes weren't going, wacky. And even eating in space, we didn't, know much about what would happen to a person swallowing, those squeeze tubes and that kind of thing. And he talked a lot about that, and that was just fascinating to me. So I've been very fortunate and met a lot of the astronauts, but certainly the Mercury astronauts were special. whether it was John Glenn. I met Walter Schirra. I had a very interesting time with Gordon Cooper and his interest in UFOs. And we were at a reception somewhere, and he would not stop talking about things that he believed and he thought he saw, and very, very intriguing person.
How many astronauts have you talked to personally, on the record or off, about UFOs and or aliens?
I think it usually comes up, when you're, some of them get a little philosophical, they'll talk about the meaning of life, what they felt. Some of these astronauts, to me, it's been kind of a mixed kind of bag in the sense of interviewing, because some of them are so much test pilots. They have their instructions. They got to move this way or that way. That switch has got to go up or down, and they're pretty, matter of fact about their flight, and they'll tell you all the specifics of hardware and things. But every once in a while, I think one of them was Story Musgrave. They get off into philosophy of, how big the universe is, and we can't be alone. And when you look at it, and you get this sense of them trying to explain something that's probably unexplainable from their perspective, of them looking out. Buzz, I don't remember too many things he said. He did have some things that they thought they saw, en route to the moon, probably something, classified satellite. I'm not sure it was any kind of unidentified flying object, but it was UFO in the sense that nobody knew what it was, but nothing of any extraterrestrial origin. But Gordon Cooper stood out in my mind, talking about the UFO phenomenon.
Did you ever get a chance to talk to Dr. Edgar Mitchell?
I've heard him talk. I don't remember meeting him. And if I did, it was brief. There's a great conference held in Tucson every other year now, or something like that. It's been a Space Fest, and a lot of the Apollo astronauts came there, and I think Mitchell was there and gave a great talk. And I probably, touched base with him a little bit, but not much. Same with like Jim Lovell. They came to those meetings, and so you got a sense of listening to them about their missions. But beyond that, I think that it's very interesting to me. I've talked to people who have done spacewalks. Bruce McCandless, he recently died. He was a good friend of mine, and he was the first person to saunter away from the shuttle with a backpack and no tether. And I tell you, him describing that, being let loose, and being free in space was pretty impressive to me. I never forget him talking about that.
Yeah, not for me. Not for me.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah, I know if that was me, there would be some strap or some button that I would hit and send me way off trajectory, and I'd be lost in space.
Bruce was funny in another weird, odd way. He was, working at Lockheed Martin at the time, kind of a former astronaut at the time. And when the Hubble, let's see, how does this work? I can't remember now myself. He was actually kind of working on how to repair the Hubble telescope when it was out of focus. And he was saying his idea was just to crawl down inside the telescope. And, they were actually trying to simulate, whether he could get down in there and do stuff and try to fix this thing. And, there was no way that Mission Control was going to allow anybody to get out of the radio range and crawl down the Hubble. But he had a pretty funny story about all that stuff. And so every one of that was what I was trying to get to. Some of them are very test pilot oriented, and they have a checklist, and they want to do well, don't foul up. And then every once in a while, you'll sit down with somebody, and typically it seems to me it's usually somebody that's taking a spacewalk. And then they get real philosophical, kind of a white robe effect of one in the universe kind of thing. But it doesn't happen all the time. It takes a special kind of consciousness, I guess, to really embrace the moment and either feel God or whatever they're feeling at the time.
Definitely. Leonard David is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Why do you have so much love for the moon?
Well, I think, growing up watching all the missions try to, even Apollo 13 trying to get there, I was always enthralled all the way to the end. I mean, I actually worked in a restaurant, and I almost got in a fist fight with the bartender because I wanted to watch the Apollo landing. It was like Apollo 14 or something. And his reaction was, "We're going to the moon again?" Yeah. So, it was a classic thing. We've been there, done that. Apollo 11, giant success, lots of people on the planet watching that event. And, but, we got a lot better, in the Apollo program. We got smarter. The astronauts had more equipment that they could take. We were better off at precision landing on the moon. We could pick sites that maybe had more scientific information to gather. And then you add in the lunar rover, where you could sit down and scoot around on the moon with your colleague there, and so it was getting pretty exciting to me. I saw moon bases and all that, and then the whole program collapsed in 1972.
What caused that collapse? Was it just economics, or was it politics?
Yeah, I think it was a blend of a lot of turmoil in America at the time, whether it was race riots, the Vietnam War raging. The economy was kind of in a shell shock effort trying to recover. And so, on the other hand, at that time, in 1972, the last astronauts, I think it was either 16 or 17, Apollo 16 or 17, that the word came that the Apollo program was going to end. But Nixon was pushing for the space shuttle. And so we were going to have something new called a space shuttle. And so the program, ended on the moon, but, the shuttle, I was lucky enough to see the first mission of that and even the last, and saw quite a few in between. The shuttle was an amazing vehicle. We lost 14 astronauts in the program, but being there in 1981 for the first shuttle flight was pretty amazing, because it was a vehicle that nobody had flown. You had John Young and Crippen in there, Bob Crippen, and sitting in that thing, and I tell you, it was one of those heart stoppers. You weren't sure, would this work? It was just an immense vehicle, and there was so much riding on it, literally with all the spacecraft that we were going to be able to launch with it and build the space station via the shuttle. So there was a lot riding on it, and I tell you, I was pretty convinced that it wasn't going to work, and I would see 2 ejection seats going out of that thing, and hopefully the crew would be okay. But it took off, and they orbited, and when I was lucky enough again to see the landing out there for the first shuttle at Edwards Air Force Base, and I tell you, when that thing came in, it was like it was, in fact, of all the people that were there, I mean, Leonard Nimoy, and I mean, that we had the Star Trek crews out there, Roy Rogers. I mean, everybody, all these Hollywood people were out there to see this thing land, and it was like the space age had finally arrived.
Yes, I can totally picture that. I can totally understand what that was all about back in the day. I mean, even as a youngster, I remember still, I mean, who doesn't remember the projection screens being rolled in with the television, on the stand, and the teacher rolls it in, and watching that first space shuttle launch. Oh, that was so interesting. So interesting.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, it's just again, building up to that over the years prior, I went out to, I was living in San Diego at the time. I got a chance to go up to Rockwell International that was building the shuttle. So you saw that thing coming together, and, I talked to quite a few engineers, and how, not so much risky, it's just the whole idea we had never done anything quite like this. And, the promise of airline-like operations. I mean, it was a space plane. And so you had visions that this thing's going to, in fact, Rockwell, they even had a design that they were starting to showcase around a shuttle with the cargo bay with passenger seats in there, like 72 passengers. And so I thought, well, okay, this is it. This is the time we get to all go.
We've only got about 90 seconds left with you before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Leonard David is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When we come back from the break, I want to start focusing on the moon and Mars, because this really seems to be where the future is. And there's a lot of, conspiracy, if we could use that term lightly, on whether or not we still have people on Mars. Have you ever looked into that theory?
I've read people thinking it, but as far as I'm concerned, we still got a way to go. Put humans on Mars, and I don't expect. Well, we'll talk about the life situation on Mars. That's a different story.
Well, even on the moon. Even on the moon.
Oh. Well, the moon, I'm not a subscriber to, unknown craft on the backside or far side of the moon. Not there. It doesn't ring a bell with me yet. I don't quite believe that, and I really continue to be upset about people that thought the whole Apollo program was a hoax. That's people having way too much time in their bedrooms.
Well, you know what? That's what space is all about, though, is learning all about it in every crook and cranny, don't you think?
Yeah, I know. It's just got to be careful there. When you meet Apollo astronauts, I mean, Buzz knocked out a guy for saying he didn't go to the moon. So got to be careful with some of the Apollo astronauts when you talk to them.
That's right. Leonard, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break at the top of the hour. Leonard David is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking the moon, Mars, UFOs, aliens. Is there extraterrestrial life? Oh, we got a lot of subjects to cover with our good friend tonight, Mr. David. His website, leonarddavid.com. Literally 50 years of research, articles, interviews, books, all at leonarddavid.com. I highly suggest you check it on out if you're a space geek like me. Spaced Out Radio continues with hour number 2 next. I am having so much fun with this tonight. Thank you.
Sure. Everything going okay?
Oh, it's going perfect. Perfect in my world. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay? So you just sit tight.
Okay.
We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Tribe and Tribe Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Tribe Charities, just go to tribecharities.org/donate.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Sorry about that. My dog decided to chase a deer out of our yard.
Okay, I know that feeling. I usually Barb will go chase the deer. Even with a dog.
Oh, Barb. Barb's going to smack you for that one. All right. We got about a minute here.
All right.
You having fun so far?
Yeah, I appreciate this. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting to see if I can remember some of these things anymore.
Well, I don't blame you.
It's a good Alzheimer test.
I don't blame you for that, man. I don't blame you for that. I'm having some fun here, too, so.
Good.
Yeah. It's all good. All right, we got 30 seconds.
Might bring up one thing, we might help segue stuff, is we went and actually Jill Tarter, sat with Jill Tarter at Green Bank Radio Observatory and looked for SETI. That was one of the highlights of my life, too.
All right. Here we go, my friend. Thank you to Cat Chaser for the super chat tonight. Great way to support what we do. Here we go with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway tonight. How are you all? My name is Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, where it's nice, frozen, and snowy all around. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Saplazieri. Saplazieri is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We introduced Leonard David tonight on Spaced Out Radio, and we are looking into UFOs, the moon, Mars, and every little secret alien hatch in between. Leonard's website, leonarddavid.com. You can get his books, all of his articles, everything. 50 years of history on that website. It is a great encyclopedia for anyone who has an interest in this subject to look into. Leonard, welcome back.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I want to get to a question from Tim in our chat room right off the bat here. And he is asking, Leonard, what is your idea on what we've heard rumors of for a long time about a secret space program?
Well, I see people talking about it. Nothing surprises me anymore. And I'm not sure of all the details of what somebody, how they constitute a secret space program. I will say that just from top secret, military activities in space, there are things like that. There are things that are happening that are out of the public eye. And you can tie in Area 51 and some of the vehicles that may be flying from there or have been tested there, and like earlier it was like the Blackbird, aircraft, and who knows where we are today with aircraft and even access to space. It wouldn't surprise me. I know this may sound a little odd, but maybe not for this crowd. Is just that I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the past we haven't had a Chuck Yeager effect or some kind of flight that of a person into orbit on a vehicle that we still don't know anything about. So I wouldn't doubt that. Now, secret space programs and things on the moon or Mars or something like that, I'm still a little doubtful on those kind of things. But I definitely see, this new Space Force that has been put together by the Trump administration is pretty interesting. And watching them put together a program in the open, but who knows what classified parts are in it. They've already started charting out cislunar space as military operations. That's in the open. So there's quite a bit going on with the military activities in space, not just for the United States, but China and Russia, other countries as well. So I'm sort of one of these 60s peacenik guys, so I'm a little concerned that we're just hauling all the tensions that we see ourselves in down here, putting them into space, but we'll see how it plays out. But there are definitely weaponization of space, militarization of space. It's underway, and some of that is very highly classified.
Have you ever been led into any details regarding any of these secret programs? The reason why I ask is the United States is very well known that when it retires an aircraft, they always have something to replace it. However, going back to 1992, when the SR-71 was retired, we were told that, well, satellites could do the job for cheaper, but then we hear of all these interesting planes out there, from the Aurora program to the SR-73, SR-74, SR-75, and there's notes about them. There's records of these strange craft that have been put together by legendary researchers such as James Goodall or Michael Schratt.
Yeah, I have no doubt that we've continued. I mean, in aviation, the thing to watch, and it's hard to watch, but I try, new materials, new capabilities that we just didn't have a decade or 2 decades ago. I mean, we're way beyond baling wire and canvas. I mean, this is moving into a lot of composite structures and structures that we're not familiar with at all in the open literature. So yeah, I have no doubt that aircraft that have advanced, and so every once in a while, I think we're on the edge of seeing new classified aircraft become unclassified, just like we saw when the U-2 came out, and like you said, the YF-12A or the Blackbird, A-11, when we first heard about those, that they were totally unique vehicles compared to where we were. So that didn't stop. And I'll tell you my own sighting to kind of get into the Black Triangle era. In San Diego, I did see what people refer to as a Black Triangle. And I've never seen anything like it after that, but I saw what people do describe as that Black Triangle flying over San Diego. And I was up, my little telescope, looking at stars and saw this thing. And it was, this sounds a little odd, but they're almost designed that you can't remember what you see. I can't explain what that means, but that's what I felt like. And taking the stars and from above and projecting them underneath the craft, that's something that we've pioneered somehow. Now, I don't claim for a second here that we're talking extraterrestrial craft, but certainly I've never seen anything like it. And luckily, a friend of mine worked at Aviation Week and Space Technology magazine at the time, and he said, "Oh no, you saw the cargo aircraft. They use that to haul cargo, And so he knew all about this stuff from articles that he had written for Aviation Week, still highly classified, that whole Black Triangle program. And I saw that, I don't even know what year that was. That was 2 decades ago, maybe. So who knows where we've advanced in aviation in that time period. But it was definitely something I'd never seen before.
A lot of people believe that these black triangles that we are seeing are actually a military craft called the TR-3B. Have you ever heard in all of your digging in journalism about this aircraft?
Yeah, I think that's what this person that Bill Scott at Aviation Week was talking about, and you know, it's clear to me that, you know, people are seeing these kind of craft. It is a little odd to me that this has been going on for a long time, and yet we have not declassified that program. So I don't know what is going on there in the serial production of these vehicles, but it's pretty intriguing to me what they could be, how fast they can go. You know, are there various versions of these things? But, you know, the whole cloaking idea of aircraft, and I tell you, I'll never forget seeing that thing. I tell you, it was pretty spooky.
Definitely, and a lot of our own listeners have seen it. I've seen 2 black triangles myself, and they are creepy. They are completely creepy.
Yeah, and I just feel like we've advanced somewhere along the line, and you know, you get into the thing about, you know, I think actually the CIA, you know, used U-2 and the A-11 YF-12A, the Blackbird. You know, people reported those things. And the CIA kind of backed up that, oh, yeah, they're just people are seeing UFOs. And that was fine with them because they didn't want to declassify the program at the time. So my guess is, and one article I did years and years ago for Space.com, I looked at the emergence of drone vehicles. And again, this was years ago. And if you take a look at the design of drones today, that are even in the open literature, it's pretty striking because anybody that's not familiar with those kind of vehicles certainly would claim that they saw something that was out of this world. And so I do think, again, there's kind of a use of drones in all kinds of situations now. And they're classified drones that we're not aware of their shapes or sizes, but I'm sure people may have seen these vehicles, and that adds to the fuel about the UFO phenomenon.
Definitely does.
That doesn't say that doesn't discount the UFO phenomenon being extraterrestrial. I'm just saying there are vehicles up there flying that look really weird. There are ours or countries.
Do you think that there are other countries outside of Russia that have or are playing with this type of technology, that with cloaking, with hypersonic speed, etc.?
Well, that's where I think we're into this new, kind of twist to the UFO story, where we have the UAP, the unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's interesting to me. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. I've read a lot about it. I've talked to people that have been engaged in that, doing research on it. It's a definite twist to the story, but you may be right there. I'm not quite sure, if you look at this, again, the open literature of hypersonics, of where we're headed, all countries are headed toward hypersonic flight and bombers and weapon systems and whatever. And so I just don't know yet whether the UAP phenomenon is not something that is so highly classified that even within certain circles in the U.S., we don't know what, who's responsible for these things. I just don't know. But it's definitely an intriguing new twist to this whole UFO phenomenon.
Leonard David is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I want to ask you a question from our audience here. Actually, it's from my cousin Gary in Edmonton, Alberta. He's got a very great mustache, Gary does. Very tight. And I know he's laughing right now. But Gary is asking, have you ever been filled in to what the presidents know about what is flying in the sky and whether or not it is of extraterrestrial descent?
I've never been filled in I've heard Clinton and Carter and other people, other presidents say something referring to, extraterrestrials or UFOs or something, but it's usually in some kind of funny moment. It's not, I've never been in any kind of situation to hear a serious outtake. And one odd thing that's going on right now with the Trump administration and this either change or shift in presidents, there are people wondering, will Trump talk about classified programs? I find that a little odd, and my guess is what I sense is going on, if there definitely has some kind of intelligence data about extraterrestrials, UFO phenomenon for real here in our atmosphere, my guess is they wouldn't tell the president. These guys, they come and go, and I think that they might be a casualty. If you're trying to cover up something that in whatever somebody's mind is that the public couldn't understand or take the truth, whatever that's going to be, my guess is it doesn't get as high as the president. They do keep it down somewhere locked up. You wouldn't allow the president of the United States to know.
That makes sense on so many ways because the president is a timed figurehead.
Yeah.
Maximum 8 years, minimum 4.
Yeah.
In the case of Nixon, less.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that was another memorable moment. When Nixon resigned, I was outside the White House. That was something. The phenomenon itself to me is it's always been intriguing to me. Now, I'm a casualty of UFOs in an odd way. I grew up in San Diego, and we're talking, I was born in 1946 in San Diego and grew up quite a bit there. And in my younger years, there was a guy, George Adamski, coming down from Palomar Mountain, where they had the giant 200-inch telescope up there. And he used to come down and pontificate. I never really heard him in person, but he was on the TV a lot in San Diego on the local television. And he always had great stories about just getting back from Venus, And you're sitting there in the living room with your rabbit ears, on your TV and trying to keep it in focus. And Adamski was always said, "Yeah, I just got back from Venus. It's so hot. It's so hot there." And as a kid, you go, "It's hot. It's hot on Venus. We're not going to go." So I believed, some of these earlier folks that were putting out books, and I went to the library. There was quite a number of UFO books. Adamski had numbers of them. And it was intriguing to me, but I was really more intrigued in a way about why people were interested in this. Why were they interested in, and why do these people go out there and there's so many people show up to listen to them? There was a kind of a desperate hunger for the messages that these folks were pontificating about. Of getting into space or meeting aliens or whatever. So all that had a huge impact on my mind. And, it started sort of with Adamski, and there was quite a number of other writers that were sort of on that early bandwagon of flying saucers coming in and landing in deserts. And from there, the story grew.
All right, let's move over to Mars for a few minutes, and then we'll come back to the moon later on. This is a planet that we have had fascination with, through comic books, through sci-fi, that we believe that there is life on Mars. Even today, there are people who are studying literally every NASA photo, and they come up with a lot of interesting conclusions as to what is being seen by the Mars rovers, by satellites, from plates and dishes to people sitting on rocks, although that one, which looks like a lady on the rock, that does look pretty interesting. You know, what is the fascination with Mars?
You know, it's been there for, a long, long time. You go back into astronomy and it's a little corny. You go back to Percival Lowell and some of his early observations, and I got a couple of his books from, way back, and he was a great writer as well as a kind of an astronomer, a ne'er-do-well guy, but he really put the story out about canals on Mars and, Martians digging, using the water from the poles. And, you read these things as kids, and that locks you in pretty solid about life on Mars. And so, here we are many, many decades later, and, we're still searching for life on Mars. And it's a little bit on the tragedy side to me. And I've tried to write about this in my Mars book and articles about life on Mars. In 1976, we had the Viking landers from NASA land on Mars, and we asked the question, is there life on Mars? We built a little box, put them on top of these two landers, and dug up soil, and the robots ate the soil and analyzed it, and there was confusion back in that time period, and particularly one guy that's still alive today, Gil Levin, is one of the pioneers of the Viking program. He swears that his experiment found microbial life or signs of microbial life. And here we are, decades later, still asking that same question: is there life on Mars? And we got more robots on Mars. We've got, China's got a Mars lander headed there right now. We got the NASA Perseverance robot. We're going to learn more about Mars in the next landing cycle, and so. But we're still scratching our head about this life on Mars question, and that is a great investigative story I hope to write one of these days about why we got confused about the answer.
That is a difficult one because, there's so many conspiracy theories wrapped around that as to whether or not we've been there before, if secret projects have had humans on the planet. There are people out there, love them or hate them, believe them or not, who are trying to convince many out there that there are jump room type programs that head off to the red planet. And that is, something that we all have to investigate, whether we want to believe it or not, or the proof shows that it is true or not true. That's where it gets a little bit difficult. And that's where we all have to do our homework. I'm going to get you to answer that, Leonard, when we come back from the break here, because we do have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. We have a great guest tonight for you on Spaced Out Radio, Mr. Leonard David. His website, leonarddavid.com. 50 years of research, stories, books, you name it, interviews, right through space, through NASA, and everybody in between. Mr. Leonard David returns with us on Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, my friend, we got 5 minutes.
Okay.
You having fun yet?
Yeah, I'm holding up okay. You?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. As long as you're good, that's all that matters.
I'm good. I'm fine. We're going to, I'll try to get the life on Mars thing, and then, it's kind of weird. Just the other day I listened to a whole briefing on Mars return sample. God, we're going to spend $8 billion to get some Mars rocks back here robotically and search for life that way. But I don't know. I'm not big on that. It's going to take humans to get there and really understand the planet and do the thing. But
very true.
We'll see. Yeah, what's the other thing that's happening? I think the exoplanet detection numbers are going up. SETI is certainly moving along on its own. China's got a huge radio telescope called FAST, F-A-S-T. They're kind of committed to a new kind of search for extraterrestrial signals. So, I'm kind of at the point where I think we're pretty close. Something's going to click. and then are we alone thing is kind of going to fade.
Well, I would love to see that. We will get into that much more here in the next little bit. I know that some questions are starting to pile up in our chat room here, so we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Bob wants to know, Leonard, do you listen to Skinnerd?
I have, but not recently. I just saw. Did you see the phenomenon?
I have not yet. I'm still debating whether I want to or not.
I found that one pretty good. I kind of thought that was a pretty good run there. Got a little problems with it here and there, but overall they did some legwork on that.
Oh yeah.
They did some pretty good work. That's probably worth seeing. Yeah, and there's just so many books that are coming out. Again, it's fascinating. I read a story for Space.com. I've always been intrigued, and I think Alan Hynek. I met Alan Hynek once. Fascinating meeting with him. Stanton Friedman, same thing. This idea about time travel. Our UFO, is it us coming back from time, from the future? That's pretty intriguing to me. That would upset the apple cart here a little bit.
All right, bear with me here. Hmm, 90 seconds, my friend. 90 seconds.
All right.
And, oh, here we go. All right, big thank you to BBD Warrior and Cat Chaser for the awesome super chats tonight. Really do appreciate the support. Thank you so much. It's a great way to support what we do. If you're brand new here, please hit that subscribe button and the little bell that lets you know when we are live every Monday through Friday, so you can check that out as well. And, yeah, don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Both work. It's all good. And, yeah, we got 20 seconds, my friend.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. I am the guy in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with Leonard David. He is an author, researcher, journalist, writer. 50 years of research, writing, and books can be found on his website, leonarddavid.com. Welcome back, Mr. David.
To be here.
All right. Before one of my listeners decides to throw his phone in the river, I better ask you, as we are talking about Mars, about Phobos and the intrigue around the obelisk that is around there. What do you think about that? Have you ever looked into that?
Actually, Buzz brought that up, Buzz Aldrin, when we worked together on a book. He's fascinated with that object. I don't know, I look at the pictures and it looks like a giant rock, but he's very intrigued by that. And, you know, we're going to learn more about Phobos. One of the big exciting things that's going on is how many other countries are doing active space programs, particularly in Japan is one of them. They have a vehicle coming back from an asteroid that's bringing back samples that they collected on the asteroid landing in Australia in December. And on the other hand, what they're also planning is a sample mission to Phobos and Deimos, the two moons of Mars, and that Japanese mission is somewhat several years away from here, but I mean from now. But we'll learn more about Phobos. I mean, there's a lot of rumors or scientific inquiry about where do these objects come from to begin with? Are they captured asteroids? Are they pieces of Mars that somehow got like our moon perhaps? Trapped in the gravity around a larger world. So we'll find out more about Phobos coming up. So my guess is we're going to find out whether or not that object that many have been intrigued by, how that really looks up close.
Do you think it was made by a previous society? Long time ago, ever before there were humans on Earth?
I don't subscribe to that, but boy, would I love to be surprised. I'll take it if it happens that way. And I guess I don't want to be too cynical on things. The more you talk to scientists and astrophysicists, and it's clear that we're always on the cusp of being amazed at new knowledge. So who knows what we're going to wind up finding. I think you always got to keep in mind that when you look at how we're going about our exploration, we've got Voyagers and Pioneers are out there pretty far out. The Pluto mission past Pluto onto Kuiper Belt objects. I mean, we've already shot a lot of robotic craft out from Earth. So why wouldn't other civilizations shoot objects this way? So, who knows? And maybe we'll find the answer sometime soon. I hope to write about it. That would be a great find. And, I'm always prepared for being totally surprised and aghast.
I'm going to say something weird here right now. And sometimes when weird things happen, I like to bring them up. My entire studio here smells like apples. There is nothing to do with apples in my studio or in my home right now.
Okay.
And it completely smells like apples. Like when you freshly bite into an apple and you get that apple aroma, That's what it smells like around here right now.
You sure you don't have poltergeists in there that love apples?
Oh, there's always a possibility. My house is haunted. I have no problem admitting that. I like to bring this stuff up when it happens, so that way we have it on record.
Yeah, really.
You know, I honestly, I'm looking around. It's like a real strong scent of apples in here right now. It's weird.
Not rotting apples. You're talking about fresh apples.
Fresh apples, yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
No, I don't have an apple tree. And I didn't leave anything out for Bigfoot or the Dogman or anything like that. Weird. Very weird. Anyways, back to space and Mars here. You know, there's a lot of people who are believing that there are people who have used these alleged jump rooms to jump to the moon, to jump to Mars. I think of Andrew Bashago. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that name, who believes he was part of a program called Project Pegasus. Now, Bashago is a lawyer in Washington State and part of the Bar Association there. We hear of people like Corey Goode, who's allegedly been to Mars, another guy named Max Spears, who's now deceased, another person named Randy Kramer who makes this claim, but there are a lot of people who have found and poked holes in his story along with Corey Goode. You know, there's a lot of interesting topics out there. Maybe these people are reaching for some sort of popularity in this field just to dare to be different. But there's also people who believe that insider information has told them that this is true. Have you ever looked into this?
That one's new to me. I don't know about jump rooms, but that's intriguing. But you know, I have done some stories in the past about teleportation and watching that technology move to something reality-wise, and who knows? Also, I've written some stories that are pretty far out in the sense of virtual reality of you know, what we may see on other worlds, to explore other worlds. You know, a robot that has all this capability, and you know, it would actually you know, almost teleport you there to another world, and you feel like, and physically feel like you're there on another world. You could even pick up rocks, and you know, you could with tactile touch feel them. So that's moving along. So who knows what in classified circles other technologies. You know, I always get down to this. If I read about it and people have technical papers, you really wonder what is classified and where some of these ideas really mature to. And so I'm always open to this. I'd be excited about, frankly, just the boring aspect of contact. You know, just picking up a signal from an extraterrestrial civilization. I think we're pretty close. I think that's in not too distant future. There's too many things going on right now with new radio telescopes and pointing accuracy, and we're finding out where the Earth-like planets are around other stars. So, you know, it seems to me that we're making great. China just opened up recently a giant Arecibo-like radio telescope, and they're talking about their own search for extraterrestrials, picking up a technological civilization, a signature signal. So, you know, I think we're getting there just on the boring ho-hum way we do science and technology. So I don't need jump rooms, but right now, but just watching what's going on in the literature is exciting for me.
Where do you think these people get their so-called insider information from then?
Well, you know, you do, in journalism, you get a sense of of people that say things that don't want to take you there. You know, they stop talking about certain topics, and you kind of remember that, and you start filling in the void with maybe what they've seen or participated in, or had some kind of work on. So who knows? But I just haven't, it never always connects, with me to make it obvious and something I never write about, because it's just, it's me thinking they know more than they're saying, about certain things. And frankly, if we just look at some of the propulsion systems that are being advocated now, the trend line is pretty exciting. The way we're doing space flight today is again, we're back at Kitty Hawk. All this stuff to me is black and white, canvas and baling wire, the way we're doing space exploration. We're going to move around the solar system much faster than we can imagine, and I don't know how it's going to happen. The papers that you read in peer-reviewed journals suggest that, stay tuned, so I'm very hopeful that some of these ideas may turn into interstellar travel concepts, and, the space is not going to be as big as we thought it was, I know people like to go space and time warps and wormholes and all that, but I think we're going to get around in the solar system and outward much faster than we do today, robotically and with even human spaceflight.
Do you think that there has been extraterrestrial type of activity on Mars? With all the insiders that you have talked about, has anything freaked them out about way up there?
Not really. Every morning, I'll be honest with you, I get up in the morning and I go to the Curiosity website and look at all the raw images that came down overnight. I mean, people can do that, and you can cruise around Mars to your heart's content. And yeah, there's weird things that you can see. They're typically off in the distance, just to be, kind of silly. But, these things, by the time the rover gets over there, it turns out to be a rock or, some kind of geological feature that's just odd. And but I tell you, one morning I did wake up and go to the Mars Curiosity website, and I'm going through the actually, there's two occasions. One of them, it looked like a bone on Mars, and I even wrote to Jet Propulsion Lab demanding an answer. What was this thing? And they're convinced that it was just a odd formation of a rock. But boy, it was close to looking like a bone to me. But the other one was kind of an odd one. What was it? They have a microscope system on the Curiosity rover, Molly. It's a microscope on the robotic arm end, and it takes really high-resolution pictures up close of things, of the rocks and sand formations. And one morning, one of the pictures really looked odd. It looked like, okay, if microbes were dead and dying there and laying there, that's what it would look like, wouldn't it? And so again, I sent off a note to Jet Propulsion Lab and actually got in contact with the head of the Curiosity rover project. And it was a little bit of a baffling image that they had. But by the time they got done analyzing it, they convinced themselves that it wasn't anything connected with life. It was some kind of odd geological formation on the rock. So, again, my guess is we found life on Mars already, and we just haven't really appreciated it.
Microbial life, or something a little bit more interesting?
nothing we can communicate with yet, at least maybe on a microbial level. I'm looking for the small stuff right now, and I'd love to run upon a structure on Mars or something that was so obvious. But I do see these pictures, and buying, I don't know, 99.9% of those, I trace some of those down to people claim to have seen this or that. And by the time you go through the imagery, you got to go to the next set of images, and it turns out to be not what they say it is. They see all kinds of things. But again, I think what's intriguing is why people want to have people on Mars. Why do we want to have life on Mars? Why do we want planets just seething with life and civilizations? And I think that there's something in that that's a great psychological message about us. And in a lot of ways, it's our search for ourselves. It's some kind of psychological hook to space that is drawing us in. Now, whether that's all preparatory to understanding that we're not alone, I don't know. There's a bigger message coming out of all this, and I'm just not there yet to write about it. But something's coming together. I think we're going to be very, very much surprised and fascinated in a not too distant future.
Well, do you think there's little green men out there then that are maybe even visiting this planet?
Well, that's the one that's pretty intriguing. You'd like to think that the Earth would be so special that we would have people coming a long way, but maybe it's short for them. It's not a long way, and they just stop by, and that's where the whole UFO folklore has grown so much over the decades, and since Ken Arnold and early stories about something over Mount Rainier called, that the media I think called flying saucers, or maybe he did. But there's something about all this that doesn't quite gel. It's always this Fermi paradox. Where are they? Well, they may be here. I don't know. There's something not quite right as you get on one side of the kind of boring, slow, methodical, scientific approach of trying to find exoplanets, and soon we're going to be able to decipher their atmospheres and understand signatures of life, perhaps cities. I mean, there's a lot of papers floating around now about how to identify life on another world far from our planet and our solar system. So, we're getting there, but that's the slow, methodical approach that science likes to do. But wouldn't it be something if all this is for naught and we're just already on the other end of some kind of life force that's visiting here? I don't know. There's something about all this that doesn't click right to me, and the UFO phenomenon may fit that picture. I just don't know.
Well, there's a lot of people, though, who claim, including some very big-name people out there, that claim to have had these very, very intriguing experiences and sightings in the sky. You're one of them. You've had that happen. How has that tempted your mind to learn more about this subject?
Well, you're drawn into it. You can't. I like to be baffled. I mean, I think it's one of the best things about newspaper headlines. Whenever we read "scientists baffled," those are the two words I love to see. I want scientists baffled. I don't like us to always claim we have the 10 Commandments of astrophysics down, that we know everything. It's just not the way it's going to pan out. And new technologies and new abilities for travel that you can see in our own technological, wake that we're creating here suggest that, civilizations that are perhaps more advanced than us have have conquered, time and space. And, a sidebar to all that, I wrote a story for Space.com not too long ago. It's one that's always intrigued me. And actually, I think Alan Hynek, I had a chance to talk to him one time a long time ago. But, and he actually wondered whether or not it's us coming back from the future, time travel, that somehow the phenomenon that we're seeing, it could be us. And there's been some new writings on that recently by one professor, anthropologist recently, and it's an intriguing scenario. I like that stuff. I want to be surprised, and maybe that's one thing that's happening. It's us coming back. We have become sort of space tourists from the future, looking back at our own history. So I don't know, but my default position is I'm willing to be surprised.
That opens up a whole plethora of questions there. If all of a sudden we're talking that these craft may be from the future.
Yeah, and maybe it's one type of situation. Maybe there's multiple things. One of the things that bothers me about alien contact that I see in books and papers is that we seem to always think of just one kind of alien contact. And, if the stars are good to us, we may wind up with just so many different types of civilizations. And who knows what those civilizations are going to be like. It's the classic Star Wars bar, you look out there and there's not going to be one alien type fits all. There's going to be all kinds of creatures out there capable of space travel and contact. And so who knows? Maybe we have time travel from the future that's us. Maybe we have also civilizations that are, taking a Stuckey's, route off the major galactic highway and stopping by and saying hi. I don't know. The one thing that bothers me about the whole UFO phenomenon over the decades is there are a lot of shysters in this. This thing is a cottage industry. People do make money making up photos and going out and talking about, just got back. And so that bothers me. And I've met some of these people, and I'm always amazed that, they can hold a crowd, but they do. But again, it gets to that reason why those people are in that room listening. There's something we're trying to connect with here that's larger than ourselves. And that's a whole psychological and philosophical discussion by itself.
Oh, yeah, and we can get deep into that, but we have you for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio tonight as we will enter hour number 3 with our guest, Leonard David. His website, leonarddavid.com, that I highly suggest all of you check out. 50 years worth of research, worth of books, worth of writings and scripture, all on space, Mars, the moon, even a little bit of aliens in there. We return with Mr. Leonard David on Spaced Out Radio to kick off hour 3, followed by the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. My friend, I'm just going to run my dogs out one more time, and I'll be right back, okay?
Well, look for those apples. That's all I'm asking.
No, it's weird because the smell is gone now. Smell is gone now. Weird. I'll be back.
Fabulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Tribe Charities, just go to tribecharities.org/donate.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio?
All right, my friend, we have 2.5 minutes left.
Okay.
So when we get to break at the next half hour, just do me a favor and just stay on hold until we get into break, and then I'll officially say goodnight to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right, everyone. I want to say a big thank you to our good friends who donated to the Super Chat tonight. Big Rob, BBD Warrior and Cat Chaser, thank you so much for the support, and everybody who supported us by hitting that thumbs up as well as the subscribe button. We are pushing for 10,000 by the end of the year. We're at 9337 right now on subscribers. I would love to hit that 10,000 mark, so we got to do it. We need like 700, just under 700 more. So help us out if you can. I'd appreciate that. That would be kind of cool. And we have 15 seconds. Remember, our brand new store is at facebook.com/the SOR Vault. Just send us a message. Tell us what shirt you want. We'll get it to you.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Saplazieri. Saplazieri is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce an amazing guest to you, Leonard Davis. His website, leonarddavis.com. We have talked about the moon. We've talked about Mars. We've talked about secret space program, UFOs. We're right into it tonight with Leonard, and make sure, once again, you check out all of his books. They can be found on his website as well. Leonard, welcome back.
Great to be here. Thanks again.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Let's talk about the space race that is currently going on right now. What is the importance in it? What is the intrigue of all of this privatization, whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's Jeff Bezos, whether it's Robert Bigelow, the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, and everybody's trying to get back into space. What is the race for first for?
That's a good question. It's we've seen an evolution of capabilities in other countries now. It used to be if you could launch a satellite, that was a big headline deal. Now there's nothing to it. We got students building satellites and unbelievable amount of remote sensing satellites around the planet. There are CubeSats, and so you've seen an evolution there in the technology. And now we have some big players. It used to be, when I grew up, the space race was just a very scary diplomatic problem for America. With the former Soviet Union, my God, I launched a 184-pound satellite, and nobody knew what was in it. Was there a bomb in there? The space race was pretty. The thing that happens as you get older, the context of the times fades. Back then, it was scary stuff. The space race was some major coup by the Soviet Union that showed their technological prowess. It was, and then the second spacecraft they launched had a dog in it, and they had to be communists because the dog they couldn't get it re-entered. It died in space or on the way up. So. But they were clearly going to be putting humans in space, and that's what they did in 1961 with Yuri Gagarin. Today we have an amazing array of countries that have very capable space programs. They look at it from a lot of different angles, both on the world stage as as kind of a showcase for their abilities. Also to teach younger people, technical skills. There's a lot of opportunity today with the private sector putting up, you see Elon Musk and the Starlink satellites, hundreds and hundreds of these things up there already, with thousands more to come to make these internet connections. It's not very exciting for the astronomy community right now, but that's evolving. So there was really kind of a multiple part space race going on, a private sector space race, a governmental one, and but I think the premise of your question is a good one. Why do we do this? Well, they're just it's sort of a dartboard type of answer. You get spin-offs from technology, you get leadership in the world by doing these space events. It's great to be first at anything. We love to see first time to do this or that, and so there's a multitude of reasons there why the space race is sort of racing even today. But I think again, you get into a little bit of the philosophical side again of, why don't we just forget humans going up there at great risk and just put robots everywhere, so that there's always tension between the human space program and the robotic space program. And frankly, on both sides of this coin, you haven't seen anything yet. I mean, the amount of attention that's being paid at NASA now of getting back to the moon, the moon's going to be a different type of place if we're able to pull that together. It's certainly going to be that way for China when it puts humans on the moon. So we're reigniting, I think, getting back to your question, the space race. And I do think there's moments here that are coming where other countries are going to be doing first, and that's just the way it's going to be.
I don't want to sound philosophical or holier than thou, but I mean, all that money that is going into looking for space exploration, whether it's putting people on the moon, putting people on Mars, or whatever. I mean, we are filling up this planet, and I do understand that eventually we may have to move. It won't be in your lifetime. It won't be in my lifetime. But there is a strong possibility of that. However, we look at the way we're beating the tar out of this planet here, and the way we treat people, and we're not even taking care of our own people. Is this even worth the value of the multi-billions that is even being spent?
Well, I think that's a great question, and I actually try to do a balancing act in my books on the moon and Mars. There's ethics involved here that some people poo-poo and don't pay attention to, but going to Mars and terraforming it and turning it into an Earth 2, is that a good idea? If there's life on Mars, what right do we have to snuff it out and put it in our own life? And on the moon, I think one thing to watch here in the next few years is claim jumping, on the moon. Does the moon have resources that are going to be very valuable to Earth or on the moon itself? You can use it for water, rocket fuel, radiation shielding, whatever. And there, this whole thing about privatization of moon resources is definitely something that you're going to see a loggerhead between capitalism, socialism, and communism, and all the isms that we may not know yet. So, but the premise of your question is good. Why do we do this? Why spend that much money on going out? We've got some big problems here, and actually one thing that NASA may be torqued around to do is spend more attention in the Biden administration with getting back to bare wood here and help understand global climate change. Otherwise, if we lose the planet, we're not going anywhere. The launch pad's, null and void. So I don't know. We're going to have a very interesting and intriguing amount of money that's going to have to be filtered into planet change here, and robotic exploration, bringing samples back from other worlds. Europa, is there life on Europa? One question I have always asked myself, if we can't find life on Mars and we can't figure out how to find it, how are we going to do that on Europa? If we, to me, Mars is a test bed for our ability to look for life elsewhere on the spot. And so anyway, yeah, I don't have an answer for it. All I know is I care about our space program, and I've never felt like the Earth is not part of our space program, and money gets filtered different times, different places, and with the new Biden administration, I think, and the worrisome fact about global climate change for those that are, concerned, more money is going to go into climate change and understanding the dynamics of that, and how do we circumnavigate some of it.
Yes, because building electric cars that are charged by diesel engines really doesn't make sense to me. But that's just me. But, in regards to space, Joe wants to know, like this weekend we're supposed to be sending 4 more astronauts via Elon Musk's SpaceX back up to the International Space Station, which is great, because I'll be honest with you, the minute every time one of those rocket launches, I am watching it like a hawk, because I feel like I'm 10 years old again, and when I look at it and we see what's happening on the ISS, and that facility is becoming quite antiquated, even though they have to, continually repair it. They just repaired an oxygen leak recently on that. The dangers of space, and granted it is the final frontier, is it worth the value of the potential human life to try and get to Mars, to try and get back to the moon, put a base on the moon, especially with now finding that there could be water on the moon? I mean, there is a lot depending on this right now.
Yeah, well, the human side of this, again, as a reporter going through 2 shuttle tragedies, it's risky business, and you don't, I always get concerned about the commercial side of SpaceX launching these 4 people. If something goes awry there, we're going to have a kind of a different space program. So, lots riding on Elon and SpaceX. A very plus side of his operation is his ability to bring back those stages. That was not ever to be done. That was one of those engineering miracles, if it could ever happen. And he's proven that it can be done, and now you have other countries want to mimic that capability. So, and that gets us to this. It gets us to reusability of systems. It's the cliche that you don't throw away an airplane when you get to the other side of your destination. We got to have much more routine space travel, and we're getting there. It's been painful. We've had loss of life. I think the space station, you're right, it's antiquated, it's old, it's creaky. I think you're right that to find an oxygen link, I think one of the cosmonauts let loose a tea bag and to see where the leak was. So, things are happening up there. But, I tell you, I was probably one of the people that were a little antagonistic about the space station because of the immense construction and engineering feat that it would take to build the thing. And They built it. And I tell you, going down to Kennedy Space Center and looking at the space station elements being tested on the ground, and nobody knew if they'd ever work when they got up into space. It was amazing, and here we are, hundreds and hundreds of people have been up there and on that facility, and all kinds of countries. And on the plus side with the space station, even though it's old and antiquated, the ability to work together, having 16 countries work together on that facility, pretty telling about what you'd like to see in the future, about sharing facilities and moving out into space as a global unifying force.
When do we get to see, or do you think the technology is there through SETI and other groups to find if there is extraterrestrials out there?
Well, again, I think we're close. I think of all the things that I've done in writing, it was one night, maybe a couple nights, sitting there with Jill Charter at the SETI Institute at Green Bank Observatory in Virginia, listening for SETI. And, all I remember is squiggly lines and stuff, but she and Seth Shostak, the two of them, consummate scientists, keen on picking up a signal and spending, their life career on looking for life elsewhere. It was pretty impressive. And again, that's one of the benefits of writing about these things. You get to go beyond the hardware and you see the people and the time and the intensity of their being inquisitive about other things in the universe, and that was a pretty exciting moment there. But I do think we're on the verge of something coming. I think China has a huge new facility, radio astronomy facility called FAST, F-A-S-T, and they're making some headway there almost monthly. So we'll see what's going to come. And I think the Chinese just a couple days ago opened up to have more cooperation with using that facility. So I think we're going to be on the end of some signals soon. And I just hope we recognize them, and I hope we share the information that we gain from it globally. And what that means to the general public, I haven't a clue. I don't know if they're going to, we're going to be still locked in coronavirus, and we don't want to know about alien contact. We've already got pathogens in our house. So I don't know where it's all going to go, but all I know is that I've had a blast writing about this stuff for all those years.
With SETI, do you think that maybe they have found something, but they just haven't let it up yet?
Well, I do think, I don't believe that. I think, any of these signals have to be verified through other facilities. There is some protocol that has been established that I think would confirm a definite signal of something that wouldn't be construed as some other phenomenon. Now, I think we're very busy in the journals of finding phenomenon that we can't figure out. And we do come up with all kinds of bizarre, or maybe not so much bizarre, but we do come up with different kinds of reasons why we're hearing fast radio bursts or whatever they are. And, recently we've picked up a lot of these things. And years ago, if a fast radio burst probably would have classified as some kind of contact. But we've come up with all kinds of other astrophysical phenomenon to explain them. Now, whether or not we're explaining them correctly, I don't know. But we're getting pretty clever with our instruments, and if we're lucky, I don't know if the Jim Webb Space Telescope will get out of here next year and be a super Hubble. But there are other telescopes that are coming, spaceborne telescopes that are going to be quite unique. to help sort out, this "are we alone" question.
Where do you think the extraterrestrials are hiding?
Well, we've talked about whether or not they're us coming back in time and whether or not we're on the other end of visitors. I mean, that's it, perhaps. And then we have just the boring, ho-hum nature of time and space that people have got to conquer, and maybe nobody's really made contact yet. So I don't know. All I know is I do feel that we're on the edge of something very exciting, and sharing that data with the globe would be just an amazing point in time. And again, I want to stress, I'm not sure we're ready, in some ways. It's going to have to be pretty definitive. It's going to have to be, I don't quite see Jodie Foster with headsets outside, the VLA out there. But we're going to have more than just a passing glance at a signal coming in. It's going to have to be verified by multiple sources. But I think it's coming. I don't think it's far away.
Do you think they make contact with us first? Like by, I don't know, landing in Disneyland or the White House lawn? Or do you think any type of message will come from a political dignitary who basically says, we found this signal, this is what we believe?
Well, yeah. Well, this is all, I got a whole collection of sci-fi films here. I love them all, from The Thing to Day of the Earth Stood Still. So, we've gone through a lot of scenarios of contact in sci-fi, and my guess is it'll be probably different than anything we ever thought. But I don't know. I don't know how it's going to, evolve. I just hope that it's, again, something that we can piece together and understand and not discard it. And I think we may have already discarded signals that may have been some kind of potential contact. But I just don't know how this time it's going to unroll.
What do you think happened in Roswell? We got 1 minute left.
Well, I've been out to Roswell, and I'm intrigued by that story. I think there's, Stanton Friedman, a lot of other people have looked at that in great detail. I don't need a lot of contact of UFOs coming in. One good one would be good for me. Maybe it was Roswell. Maybe it's another one, but I don't know. There's so many cases now of things that are very bizarre. But Roswell is kind of still lingering there, but there's still fault lines in that story that I see that intrigue me of a classified program that we just didn't understand at the time. But who knows? That's what's so much fun.
Leonard, I want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio for the first time, and I hope it's not the last. I really enjoyed this conversation, and thank you for taking the time for our audience.
Well, great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. LeonardDavid.com is Leonard's website, where you can find literally over 50 years of research, information, writings, articles, books. Yes, it's a gem of an encyclopedia when it comes to space. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Great job, Leonard. We'll give you a few claps here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Take a bow. That was good. I hope we did all right for you.
Yeah, it was fun to reminisce on things. I, probably didn't get to a lot of specific things that some of your listeners would like, but I tried to skirt and keep my scientific integrity.
I hear you.
Whatever it is. whatever's left of it.
It's all good, my friend. It's all good. Thank you so much for staying up late for us. We really appreciate it.
Okay, and should I sign off now?
Yeah, we're going to say goodnight to you because I got to go get the news ready. And thank you to your beautiful wife for hanging out with us as well in the background because I do hear her.
Okay. She tried to be quiet, but she can't.
What's it on tomorrow?
It'll be on our terrestrial stations, one in Oregon, one in California, one in just outside of Toronto, one in Georgia, and yeah.
Okay, Dave.
All right, take care.
Okay, you too. Thanks so much for doing this.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That was good times. Good times. My ears are killing me. Between my headphones, my Marvin toque, and my glasses right there, my ears are like so raw right now. I wish I could just wear my headphones differently, but I can't. It all hurts. I do need an ear rub. Oob to Joe's Maine. Hi, Nikki. How are you? Thank you, Super Bob. Can't call you Science Bob because we already have one of those, so you're now Super Bob. Cat Chaser, dead air is because I'm not talking. I can do this.
Charities.org and become a donor today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal. And I have to tell you, I love the response I get from Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire.
You know, Ross, we do have Janet shirts. Janet Nevada tour shirts. Oh, hey, Clam. Oh, hey. Another great veteran of the United States Navy, Mr. Oh, hey, Clam. Hey, Steam Train Mark, thanks for the update. The Ocean Swagger, good to have you back. Where have you been hiding? Excuse me. Let's give the Clam, Jeff Gear, a few claps for being a veteran of the United States Navy. He is the man of the password. Hey, Terrible Times. Good to have you here. I want to say a big thank you once again, everyone, to Cat Chaser, BBD Warrior, and Big Rob for the super chats tonight. Thank you to everybody who is hit that subscribe button for the first time. And you can do a little shopping at our brand new store. Go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. We got t-shirts for sale. there right now. So check it on out. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us, hang out, relax, and enjoy the show. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the aliens. UFC meet UFO. It was close encounters of the third kind for Diego Sanchez this week. The UFC star is convinced he was visited by aliens Wednesday night, and he ain't joking, and I wouldn't want to question him whether or not he is. The 38-year-old, who has been fighting in the UFC since 2005, described the encounter at his home in New Mexico late Wednesday night. I was doing energy work on my patio as a UFO flew right up on me, Sanchez said on Twitter. Yeah, this is the quote. He goes, I was doing energy work on my patio as a UFO flew right up on me. I called for my daughter, Quicks. She watched this thing hover only hundreds of feet away. Albuquerque is a trip. Sightings are regular here, but this beep was contact tonight. It was obvious it was watching me. I called for my daughter. Yeah, there he goes. Sanchez famously appeared on season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter back in 2005, defeated Kenny Florian. They did not get any snaps or pics or video of this UFO. However, Old Davey here reached out on Twitter to Mr. Diego Sanchez, and he responded. Yes, we have a new follower on Twitter, the former UFC champion, and we're going to try and line up a date for him to come on Spaced Out Radio to tell his story about what he saw. How cool is that? How cool is that? That would be great for us. So I'm just waiting for him to respond. We texted each other a couple of times over Twitter DM, and we're going to see if we can get this done. Hopefully we can. Hopefully his agents don't shut him down saying, dude, what are you doing going on some weird show talking about aliens? Well, we need to talk some aliens with Diego Sanchez. This guy isn't afraid of anything. I wonder if he's afraid of the Greys. Hopefully we'll get to find out. Amazon's home voice assistant Alexa is taking a step closer towards natural conversation by trying to guess what users might say next. So, if asked how long it would be to brew a cup of tea, it may answer, and then ask if the user wants it to set a timer. The AI-powered chat service is streamed in millions of homes via Amazon's Echo speakers, and some may find its newfound skill annoying, according to one expert. I haven't even heard this thing. I don't even have Alexa, and I can tell you this is going to be annoying. Alexa software engineers Anjishnu Kumar and Anand Rathi blogged, with a new machine learning system, Alexa can infer that an initial question implies a subsequent request, but this required a number of sophisticated algorithms to detect latent goals, formulate them into actions that frequently span different skills and surface to customers in a way that doesn't feel disruptive, Gadget website Pocket Lint founder Stuart Miles said if it worked well, it would be a great time saver, but that would depend on how much Alexa understood about the context of a question. If you ask what's the capital of Mongolia is in the context of geography homework, and its next question is, do you want to book tickets online? Then that's going to be annoying. You know what? I see a lot of spam happening here. We already get this crap with Facebook, okay, with Google, with Instagram, with Twitter, where you put out your thoughts or you just mention potato chips or black licorice, and the next thing you know, you're filled with ads. All right, they're already doing this. This is getting a little bit scary. A little bit scary. Not sure if I'm a fan of this. Not sure at all. Oh, Bridezilla. Oh, you poor thing. Bridezilla ain't happy. Definitely not happy. Oh, my goodness. When the gown she ordered looked nothing like what was pictured on the website, a Kentucky woman wrote an angry letter to the bridal store from which she brought it and was mortified when the store wrote back to tell her that it didn't look right because she was wearing it inside out. Aubrey from Louisville shared her blonde moment on Facebook, writing that she was really upset, about to go Bridezilla all over this gown store. When the gown arrived, she quickly fired off an angry email to the company. Soon after, the 33-year-old received a surprising response from the store. You put the dress on inside out. Please put it on the right way. Oh, this poor girl. Poor girl. Despite some embarrassment, Aubrey appears to have had a sense of humor about her potential Bridezilla moment and her mistake, and she shared it in a bridal face group. 2 weeks ago, my wedding dress came in, she wrote. I was really upset about the looks of it and sent an angry email to the company wanting to return it. I took pictures of me in the dress, telling them it looked nothing like what we had ordered. She also included some images. First, she posted the front and then the back shot of the dress, a white strapless number with a sweetheart neckline and a fluffy tulle mermaid hem, whatever that means. It has lots of little details, including embellishments and the thighs and a lace-up back. When Aubrey put it on, though, the gown looked rough and unfinished. The tulle only ran along the very bottom, and a messy white fabric took up most of the dress. The lace-up back looked unfinished with the strings hanging down the back. I mean, how does someone make this mistake? Please explain it to me, how one makes this mistake. Anyways, this weekend, Aubrey received an email back from Millie Bridal, which explained that she was wearing it wrong and signed off with a polite, kind regards. You know there was laughter at Millie Bridal. They deserved it. Glad they caught on to that one. You imagine some of the nightmares they have to hear on a daily basis? It would drive me nuts. This is why people drink in life. Bridezillas. Well, this one is a mystery solved. Put your dress on your special day the right way before it comes off the right way, and have a good time. Have a good time. I love this story. A British Columbia woman from Vancouver is now a Guinness World Record holder after being confirmed as the world's oldest living curler at age 102 years, 37 days. Lola Holmes said she first started curling, a stone sliding game played on ice, when she was 24 years old, and she took up the hobby again at 80. Holmes said her tenure as a curling player nearly ended when she was diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome at age 83, but she learned a technique known as a stick assist curling that allowed her to continue to play the sport she loves. Holmes now plays lead at the curl. Wow, she's in lead. That's a difficult spot for someone of that age. With the Vancouver Curling Club in the Ladies Seniors League, I'm in the game of curling to win. I love to win games with our teams. I am equally unhappy when I lose. I love that attitude. Hey, elementary schools all over the world. She loves to win. She's 102. There's no participation badges for her. Holmes said she was excited to receive the Guinness World Record title. She said she hopes her accomplishment will inspire other seniors to remain active in their later years. Go for the Olympics, Lola. Go for the Olympics. A man who was in a traffic accident did something just idiotic and inhumane. What did he do? He stole the car of a Good Samaritan who had stopped to help him. Yeah. So get this. The incident occurs at peak rush hour on a busy highway in the capital of San Juan, and the dude who was driving the car that wrecked was apparently a thief, and he rolled the car, flipping it over onto his roof. So, of course, innocent bystander decides to pull up in his car and stopped, tries to help the guy, say, "Hey, man, are you okay?" The guy's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Then the thief runs back to the Good Samaritan's car, jumps in, and flees, according to the authorities. Police said the car involved in the accident was stolen as well. No one has been arrested. The car has not been found. How crappy is that? You try and do something good for someone, and they steal your car. Terrible. Terrible human being. It's going to hell for that one. Here is a gross picture. If you go online and look at this, this is hideous. Okay? So it's a picture of a heron that's flying, but right before it took off, it ate an eel, and the eel punctured a hole in the heron's neck and is trying to escape. It's gross. So a snake eel fighting for its life pulled an alien move by bursting out of the stomach of a heron that had just swallowed it whole. The photos show the snake eel, its head dangling in midair as the heron looks surprisingly unbothered, flies forward. The unusual event attracted a lot of attention among local predators, said Sam Davis, an engineer from Maryland, who took the photos on the Delaware shore. Several juvenile eagles and a fox were following the heron, possibly hoping to scavenge a meal in case the heron or the snake eel didn't make it. When Davis first spotted the bizarre flight, he thought that a snake or eel had bitten the heron's neck. Davis was about 75 to 100 yards away from the animals, but had a telephoto lens for long-range photography, and so he shot photos as he watched the heron fly about and even land on the water with the eel still attached to it. The heron didn't seem to act much differently. It was in the water and flying around. It wasn't until Davis returned home and edited the photos that he realized that the snake eel wasn't biting the heron. After enlarging the photos, he says, "I could see the eel. You could see its eyes. It was actually coming out of the other end head first." How gross is that? Totally gross. Reminds me of the movie The Thing back in the day. A Florida couple who discovered a World War II veteran's documents and keepsakes at an antique shop have reunited the items with the man's family. This is classy. Finally, somebody who is classy in Florida. Lloyd and Melissa Hyatt said they were at an antique shop in Wildwood when they came across a boxed flag that Lloyd recognized from his time in the United States Navy as a military commemorative burial flag. The couple investigated the item and found the box contained numerous items and documents belonging to a World War II veteran named Edwin Smith. The interesting thing about this flag is it had the guy's ID card, and it actually had some other memorabilia. And I just felt that it didn't belong there, and we should make an attempt to get it back to the family if at all possible. The couple paid $59.95 for the flag and its accompanying items, including military ID cards, discharge papers, paperwork for Smith's burial, and a letter from Harry Truman thanking Smith for his service. He had a wife he had left behind, 2 sons, and some grandchildren. It talked about how highly he was respected in the community, and was going to be missed. So I started with that, using some search engines with the family members, Melissa said. Melissa did some research online and was able to reach out to some family members on Facebook before finally connecting with Smith's son. He said what they decided to do was that each family member was going to have Eddie with them for 2 weeks, and then it was going to go on to the next family member, and that final place was going to be with his son. I get chills over that, Melissa said. The couple shipped the box to Massachusetts to be with Smith's family. The couple said they were happy with the outcome. My biggest fear was that we were going to find a family that didn't care or they were indifferent to it, and we were so glad that didn't happen, Lloyd stated, and And so we were put in the places of our lives right then and there where you just know what's the right thing to do, and this is one of them. It's sad that that was even being sold by an antique store, don't you think? You think they would have the courage and the knowledge to maybe see if there was family that might want those important items from their father and grandfather. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. Everything's for sale, apparently. Anybody want to, buy my drinking cup here? It's for sale. 99 cents. I'll even autograph it. News stories about endangered wildlife have become sadly familiar over the last number of years, with many biologists now saying we are living through the planet's sixth mass extinction because of the rate at which species are disappearing due to human activity. Recently, it was the hedgehog's turn to make headlines, having been assessed as vulnerable to extinction in the United Kingdom. The prickly insect muncher was added to the red list of Britain's mammals, one of many official inventories of at-risk species produced by the International Union of Conservation of Nature. Fortunately for the hedgehog, there is still plenty we can do to help. Unlikely, conservationists working with the IUCN, determine each species' threat level according to a specific criteria. And at the moment, the European hedgehog is not in danger of vanishing in the wild, in parts of its huge range, which stretches east of forests around Moscow and south to the olive groves of the Mediterranean. It remains locally common, but the species faces a growing number of severe threats. A 2018 report by People's Trust for Endangered Species and the British Hedgehog Preservation Society estimated that over half of the hedgehogs in rural Britain and a third of the urban ones have been gone since 2000 alone. Such is the speed of the population decline. The species meets the threshold for vulnerable status in the United Kingdom. Agricultural intensification since World War II has transformed vast swaths of land, removing the patchwork quilt of hedges, woods, and small fields in which hedgehogs thrive, and replacing it with huge, unvarying monocultures of cereal crops or chemically improved pasture. Insect numbers have crashed due to pesticide use, depriving hedgehogs of their prey. Meanwhile, contemporary garden designs does them no favors as well. Decking, patios, artificial turf, planters, and general obsession with tidiness in our manicured outdoor spaces. Some conservationists wryly refer to this trend as ETD, or ecological tidiness disorder. Oh my God, we have another one. Ecological tidiness disorder, leaving the hedgehogs without enough food and shelter. Another major cause of mortality is roadkill. Yeah, apparently it suggested 335,000 hedgehogs a year die in the United Kingdom. That's kind of sad. But you know what? I like hedgehogs. I do. They're cute. They're cuddly. Got to take care of them. UK, you got to take care of them. Make sure it happens. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages and read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Give me a funny description of what you think UFOs are. Let's do this. John usually wears a Stetson when he's typing. Can't speak to all UFOs, but the Tic Tacs are extra-dimensional space cows. They just happen to graze in a region technically near Catalina Island. One of the young space cows broke away from its mama and just wanted to check David Fravor out. She was just trying to play with him. Yeah, maybe. Another John. Dysons with cloaking technology cleaning up the atmosphere. Bases in the closet hiding in plain sight. Cleaning up dust. My ass. Pull the other one. And what does it say? Hold on. Pull the other one. It has aliens on. Okay, there we go. We got it done. Haunted history. Vulture version of Takeaway. Vulture flying through the air, desperately hanging on to a coffin with fresh body inside. Too heavy, losing grip, and the coffin now free falling back to ground. Good one. Richard. Galactic Security Company running the show by keeping a watch on us by using automated AI-supported devices for sampling, cleaning, and deflection. Housekeepers. Ronnie, 2 pancakes sandwiched together with Gorilla Glue with stealth and cloaking technology piloted by a flying squirrel named Rocky. Makes sense. Davey, ice hockey pucks. Okay, we got to get rid of the ice hockey. Everybody knows what hockey is. Pet peeve, man. Pet peeve.
Yes, I'd like to watch some of that ice hockey on the screen tonight. Maybe, just maybe, we'll have some fun watching that violent game of ice hockey.
Anyways, flying through space. Lloyd, beings from another planet. Thanks, Lloyd. Lemuria, lost hubcap from my old 1966 Mustang. That thing went flying when I jumped a curb. Must have kept on going and going and going. Magonia, electric kettles. I hear that only the British have kettles, which is why we never need to talk about it. Area 51, S4, Right Pat, etc. All stashing kettles. Hashtag kettle disclosure. That's funny. Jay, they're seagulls. Graham, interdimensional vacuum cleaners, Dave. That's what they are. Kevin, swamp gas reflecting the lights of Vegas. Gregory, unidentified flying orphans, alien kids that were just too much of a pain in the alien ass. They were warned, but just didn't listen. Science Bob gets the final word. Unusually effed up option. There you go. Thanks, Science Bob. That's what great education gets you right there. Love you, Science Bob. All right. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire. And a big thank you to Leonard David for being our guest tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody in our chat rooms on YouTube, LGAP, Spreaker, Revolution Radio, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and of course to all the snarkers hanging out at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Thank you for your time. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. Hello? Is there anybody out there? Hey, there's Stetson John. That was funny, man. That was real funny. Hey, Super Quest, how you doing, buddy? Hi, Slim. A couple seconds here, people. Give me a couple seconds here. Download that. Going that. What am I doing? That's what I'm doing. Download. Move that over here so I can. Oh, God. Hold on. What are you doing? Like all over the place right now. There we go. Hello. There we are. 89 people. I'm going to be right back. Be right back. Be right back. Be right back. I'm Dave Scott. I'll be right back. Dave Scott. All right, let's get this thing done, shall we? Okay, let's go on. Don't forget, you guys have all been waiting for those t-shirts. We have them officially up for sale. You go to facebook.com/spaced out radio. We have or not spaced out radio, I apologize. We have them at our new page, the SOR Vault. It's facebook.com/the SOR Vault. And you can pick up your new swag there. And gosh, I hope you guys enjoy it. I really do. What editor do I use for my studio? I use Wave Pro. All right, let's edit this bad boy. Wonder is coming, Bomber. It's already here. My goodness. The vault will have an SOR toque coming very soon. I am getting the toques made, man. Don't worry about that, Cousin Gary. It's coming. Make sure you give our page a thumbs up if you don't mind, or a like, pardon me. And then you guys could stay on top of when new stuff comes on board, because we're going to have more stuff coming very soon, including a new plethora drink shirt. And some other really cool swag. So then we're going to be introducing you guys to the hoodies, the hats. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pipe. So make sure you check it on out. And remember, everything is in Canadian dollars as well, people. So if you're in the United States, literally with your the exchange rate, it's not costing a lot. You're actually saving money. And we got sizes from extra small to, like, I think 4XL or 5XL. We could fit anybody into SOR gear. Anybody. Stu Gerson. Stu Gerson, everybody. So we've made it real easy with the store, too, guys. What we did was if you want to purchase anything, you just send us a private message on the Facebook page there, and then we are able to... And then we are able to set your order. Takes a couple weeks to get everything printed out, and then we send it off to you. So it will be what am I looking for here? It'll be the cost plus shipping and handling. So we'll get you a final cost. You send that to us, and then we send you a couple of shirts or whatever you guys order. And there might be some special stuff in there too. You never know. You never know. Thanks, Raul. How you doing, man? Ooh, did I do that? Good. Hey, Dutch. Yeah, call me anytime after about 5:30 tomorrow, Dutch. I burped. Excuse me. By the way, Cousin Gary, your mustache and goatee is looking fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Maybe that should be the new name of your football team. The Edmonton Lip Blades. Oh. Did everybody say hello to my cousin, Gary C., in the chat room? My cousin. Now, Gary's dad and my grandfather were brothers. Cousin Gary has a nice goatee. He hasn't fully bearded up yet. I know we're second cousins, Gary. He also plays an incredible jazz flute. No, he's not Dutch. He's full-on Ukrainian. You keep that Dutchness away from us, man. You keep that Dutchness away. All right, that time of the night again, people, where we got to get those 6 digits ready for the verification code for tonight. As we do it each and every night here on the show, or at least try to. Sometimes I forget. No, he plays a little bit of mandolin as well. Later, Dutch. Call me tomorrow after 5:30. All right, let's see. Your 6-digit verification code for tonight is 175397. 175397. That is your verification code. Verify wisely, space travelers. Verify wisely. Now, where'd Cousin Gary? Oh, there he is. Stu, no win, just kerplunk to a lot of CSNY. What the hell is CSNY? Hey, Cousin Gary, why don't we call you up right now and just maybe you can play some of that jazz flute for us? All right, let's folder. Now, put this up. Not good. Ah. I did not screw up tonight. I caught it. Oh. There's only 3 initials you need to know. GNR. That's it. Good night. Take care. They're the greatest rock band ever. Ever. No problem, guys. We'll do it all again tomorrow. I got to get back to the office tomorrow morning, so I'm going to, head on out of here as well. But thank you all for listening. Let's go check out our new subscribers before we say good night, shall we? Let's. All right, new subscribers. Aldo Navarro, thank you. Kelly Sprague, thank you. Allison Ford, Daniel Penkoff, Richard G. Hoff, J.C. Conway, Zach M., thank you all for subscribing. Appreciate all of you. And you guys all go have a good night now. Be safe. We'll do it all tomorrow because remember, it's Friday the 13th. Our guests tomorrow are a couple of gorgeous twins, Krista and Kira, twin healings, twin magic. Yeah, tomorrow. They're from Saskatchewan, so you know they're good people. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. See ya.